Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Small news and prophecy coming at you. And this is an article from Zero Hedge, which reads: The establishment's dystopian view. Is this the year the world falls apart? Now, obviously, we know we're in it, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash. Apostle Tahar, the head of Great Millstone, declared this year the year of the Karagma, which don't mean that this is the year where the chip gets implemented, but more so that the vibration gets. I mean, when I say implemented, what I mean is the chip's already been in. It's already been implemented. Okay, it's just gonna rise. Okay, and we know through the news that's coming out. You had yesterday, I believe Trump um, through Congress or something. I can't remember the full story, but basically, he wanted the wall to be passed and everything, but they're basically not down with it. All right, so he's gone down to the Mexican border basically to make a case. And I read an article previously that all he needs is a false flag for basically him to basically establish a state of emergency whereby he can declare that war is mandatory. Now, even you had the woman, I forgot her name. She basically said someone said, I can't remember who it was, but someone within Congress said in the Senate, basically said that there's other means whereby they can monitor the people coming across the border as opposed to a wall, which would be, facial recognition software and different other things. We know before they've said about RFID chips being used to track those people that come into America. So you can see through all these things that are happening, it's all going down a one-way track, down to where the RFID chip, which according to the Bible is a mark of the beast, okay, through the secrets being revealed onto the servants, the prophets. All right, this is the year that mounting hammer blows to the Western Alliance system and the edifice of global governance threaten to bring the old order tumbling down. So they're saying this: if you know anything, the elites of this society want to establish a new world order. So they're saying they want to bring the old order tumbling down. So that means they want to implement in this year the new world order. Okay. So it reads, this is saying, man. Bear with me a moment. Okay. Eurasia says President Donald Trump should take a large share of the blame for the state the world finds itself in. Okay, the geopolitical environment is the most dangerous it's been in decades. Okay, warns Eurasia Group, political risk advisor to the world's elites and a voice of globalist ideology. So, yeah. All right. Pax Americana is unraveling. The transatlantic concord underpinning the West since the 50s is dying. Okay, so this whole infrastructure, as you know, is it's falling apart basically. NATO, the G7, the G20, the WTO, and the EU are all in varying degrees of crisis. Okay, and that really goes into, the Daniel's the second chapter dealing with a statue, dealing with defeat. We're at the feet of that prophecy, being the 10 that was strong and 10, partly strong and partly weak. The feet being made out of steel and miry clay. Okay, so that's why it's all falling apart. Vladimir Putin's Russia has an open goal. Every single one of these is trending negatively, and most in a way that hasn't been in evidence since the Second World War. It said anti-liberal strongmen are tugging away at the edges in Turkey, Brazil, and Hungary. Some in the twilight zones of the democratic world are drifting towards a Putin Z camp. All right. So basically, you're having all these different countries that were once allied, you know, um, with you know, the West, the beast, basically the beast with the 7 heads and 10 horns, being, you know, Esau or the West. They're basically drifting off and finding their way over to the bear, all right, and the dragon being China, all right. U.S. alliances everywhere are weakening. The limited trust that underpins the U.S.-China relationship appears to be gone, said Eurasia in this annual outlook. I mean, we gotta remember, and there's many prophecy in the Bible. Okay, it says even about in Revelations that the mother being ashamed of basically America, all right, and even those that were peace at the, you know, letting they're basically gonna send their missiles upon America as well, all right. And even in the book of Amos, when you deal with the eighth chapter, I believe, where it talks about as if he fled from um, a lion and a bear met him, and then he fled into a house and he was bit by a serpent. All those basically, you know, the lion, the bear, and the snake all going to the UK, America, and China. All right. So basically, America's gonna find itself, the harlot that sat upon the beast is gonna find herself out there in deep waters, in deep harsh waters without a paddle, man, or a sail. The dystopian picture is grim enough, even at this late stage of global economic expansion, which begs the question: what would happen in a deep recession with mass unemployment? Chaos, man, and that's what's coming. Eurasia Group warned that 2019 could turn out to be the year the world falls apart, the year of the Karagma, man. All right, that's the year that we're in right now, and it's got to fall apart in order for a new, you know, order ab chaos. Out of order comes chaos. That's one of the mantras, or the quotes of the elites of the society. So they determine that they're gonna establish their kingdom, their, you know, what they believe, their take on the kingdom of heaven by way of what, breaking down its current society, all right, from the inside out, and then establishing a new society, all right, a new world order. And that's why they want to basically, in order for them to set that up, they have to destroy this current society as it stands. Although it is not the central forecast, denouement may take a little longer. All right, and this word denouement basically means, I can't looked it up before, I can't remember it. The final part of a play, film, or narrative in which strands of the plot are drawn together and matters are explained or resolved. So we can see that, you know, that's basically although it is not the central forecast, the known denouement may take a little longer. So basically, for the final plot of that, the world falling apart and them establishing a new world order, it may take a little longer. Obviously, there's a process of time, but you know, it don't take much really for it to head into that into where Esau wants to bring about his new world order. Right? There is much ruin in a great geopolitical order, to paraphrase Adam Smith. All right. Once a system of values and institutions has evolved over decades, it is sticky. Barring bad luck, like Sarajevo in Sarajevo in 1914, it takes years, even decades, to knock down the geopolitical order. That process of erosion is underway around the world today, and it's been underway. See, they said going back to the 90s, and really, according to Obadiah, the first chapter, it tells you that when, you know, it says his nest among the stars, then shall I bring it thee down. So this has been in effect since 1969, heading into the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, to the noughties, and now we're in the 10s, all right? So, and we're heading into the 20s again. So we're talking about 50 odd years. This has been a process of the bringing down of this system as it was known before. So this ain't, we ain't got long left, all right? They like to make it sound longer than what it really is, but we ain't got. We're in the process of this kingdom being wiped out, man, and the kingdom of heaven being established on earth. It is a world in which the gloves are coming off in cyber warfare, setting off a cycle of action and reaction that could all too easily spin out of control. All right. Pentagon's Cyber Command is preparing for preemptive strikes that are exploratory plans to give private US companies leeway to hack back when attacked. So they're basically saying that now they're going to give legislation for these companies, these US companies, when they're hacked from the outside to basically hack back. So they're basically saying that they're giving a go ahead for cyber warfare, which really they've been doing anyway. All right, whether they started it or they were in retaliation. But now all that's happening is now they're showing the people, they're giving legislation as to the normalcy of you know reacting to quote unquote reacting to cyber warfare attacks. Right, global share markets are on edge as the new year commences. In parallel, a global tech cold war is closing in. Right, so even saying a global, and that where does that lead to as well? If there's a global cold war, what's that going to lead to? That's going to lead to the RFID chip, man. Because we're in an information age, everything's dealing with computers, right? So they want to start hacking into other systems. So the way they want to keep control of the people is via the RFID chip, okay? So, everything is heading towards RFID chip. States are slashing reliance on foreign suppliers wherever national security is at stake. The West is shutting out Chinese manufacturers of 5G high-speed equipment. Digital globalism is in retreat. Donald Trump is, in Eurasia's view, the central catalyst and accelerant for much of what is going wrong in the world. It starts at home in Washington. And that's why Donald Trump, all right, was put in office through the Spirit by Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, because he is a key he has a key role in bringing about the downfall of Babylon the Great, which is America according to the Holy Scriptures, the Bible. Damage is being done to the legitimacy of the democratic institutions in the world's largest economy. See, he's gotten it from the inside out, man, and that's the elites want that done. Eurasia says House Democrats will probably move forward articles of impeachment for obstruction of justice. This will resolve nothing. The Republican Senate will resist. The battle will not end like Wargate with the obedient resignation in the interest of the nation. Mr. Trump is no Richard Nixon. He will fight back tooth and claw and precipitate a constitutional crisis. And we see what's going on presently today with him being down there at the Mexican border. He's making his case. He don't take no for an answer. He's very proud, and he's gonna, he's that bald eagle, man. He symbolizes America's pride, okay? And no one ain't gonna be able to tell him no, all right? Europe is in no fit state to step into the leadership vacuum as America turns its back on liberal alliance system and nexus of shared values. On the liberal alliance system and nexus of shared values, fond hopes for Emmanuel Macron would scatter the hordes of rebel populism in Europe after his triumph in 2017 have been dashed. His approval rating has dropped to 23%. He faces a national emergency for the Gillets ones. His domestic and Eurozone reforms are a dead letter. So it's showing you that basically Britain and France, strong alliances with America, are also weak, as America is weak, right? With the yellow vest protests in France and the Brexit going on in UK, the UK, Eurasia estimates that Eurosceptic populist forces will win 37% of seats in the European Parliament next May, up from 28% in 2014. All right. The new body formed later in 2019 will be in crisis before it even gets to work. This year will be the one where when populists gain real power on Europe's largest stage. It said this before the next inevitable downturn hits. When it does come, the political shock absorbers will be perilously weakened. Belt tightening will unleash a lot of deflation, defl, deflationary demons, deflation. You know what the word? You can read it. It's right there. Excuse me. Um, so it reads. It says the reason many in the UK voted to leave the EU is that they recognised it wasn't fit for purpose over the long term, on account they looked to be right. States, well, I don't believe that, man. A lot of people out here on the ground, they voted Brexit because they believe they'll have more, they're all feeding into the false propaganda that was put out there, how much money they're putting into the UK, into the EU, and how they're basically being taken advantage of when they didn't realize all the advantages that they have in that pairing. Okay, being associated with the EU. The biggest tail risk in is a Sino-American showdown ending in global economic slump, bitter recrimination, and a cycle of escalation into connect space. Eurasia says relations have been deteriorated beyond the point of no return, nor is there any workable common ground for compromise. At stake is 21st century technology dominance, not trade. Rising nationalist sentiment makes it unlikely that Beijing will ignore US provocations. The balance of probabilities is a world will muddle through 2019 without any of these landmines detonating. Yet the drift of events is clear. The Western liberal order we took for granted at the end of the Cold War is this existential threat. We're setting ourselves up for trouble down the road, big trouble, it said. So basically, this year is going to be the turning point. So I'm going to grab some scriptures and be out, man. So now this is Hebrews 1 and 2. Sorry, I'm going to start 1 and 1. Hebrews 1 and 1. The Most High Yahweh, who at sundry times, and the word sundry means diverse or many times, and in diverse manners spake in times past unto the fathers, our fathers, the nation of Israel. And that shows you how this is all about the nation of Israel, because fathers is what? A relation, alright? So you have to be related, you have to be a descendant of the fathers in order to be an Israelite, alright? So spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets. So our people were spoken to by who? The prophets, in many times in diverse manners, having these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he have appointed heir of all things, by whom also made the worlds. Alright? So the point being, in these last days, alright, we're being spoken unto by the Son, alright? And the Son, basically, when he came on the earth, he was quoted in the book, sitting actually in the book of Hebrews 10. It quotes that Yahweh, he said, "Lo, I come in the volume of the book," quoting Psalms 40 and 7, all right, which basically the Lord is the volume of the book. So how do we then, how is the Lord spoken unto us in this day? By us gaining the Lord sending forth the Comforter after he went up on he bared, all the iniquity of the nation of Israel on the cross, and basically opened our understanding unto the words. He sent for, when he bare the cross, he went up to the heavens, gained the glory, opened the book, and then gave us the understanding. Now, it tells you in Amos 3 and 7, the secrets are given unto his servants, the prophets. Now, the key secret that's being shown to us, man, is that we're in those times, man, these last days. Okay? That's why Apostle Tar declared this year, the year of what? The year of the Charagma. Alright? Charagma, going back to the Greek word, which means mark. Alright? So we're in that time, man. So it's Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So every time has a season and a purpose. The reason why all these things are happening in the news, all these things are going down within the news with Donald Trump and the Mexican border, trade agreements, the government shutdown, the Brexit, the Yellow Vest protests, the earthquakes in diverse places is to fulfill prophecy written inside the scriptures. A time for verse 8, a time for love and a time for hate, a time for war and a time for peace. We're definitely not in a time of love, and we're definitely not in a time of peace. We're in a time of hate and a time of war. The Job 9:24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not who. And basically that's talking about this current system we're living in at this point in time, man. We're in the last days, okay, and the times we're in is gonna be the coming of great lamentation upon the earth. Alright? So I'm gonna read this scripture and be out, man. Okay. So this is 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. So we're meant to measure the times that we live in, okay? And that's how we understand what, as it was outlined in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. There's a time and season for everything. So there's a time for peace and a time for war, a time for love and a time for hate. So we gotta measure the times we're in by what though? By the prophecies outlined in the scriptures, the signs that were told unto us by our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai when he left, when he was on the mount. And the key signs are outlined. We see all of these signs playing out in this time that we are living in. Right? So that's how we know what time we're in. Alright, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that at the very same time we're in the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So we know we're in that time. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, which is being seen, okay, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Alright, and in the book of Jude it speaks of Enoch prophesying that the Lord cometh with his thousands and thousands of the angels, alright, and he himself was beamed up by a chariot as well, alright, as a sign unto the people. So these things we know are gonna happen, man, in these last days that we live in. Okay, for like as verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. The end of this kingdom is manifest. Right, the end of Esau's rulership, which is the beginning of Jacob's rulership. Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, endings in effects and signs. And that's the same thing, man. It's playing out right now. And every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby you have believed. So faith without works is dead. Alright? So we're faith-based Israelites and we're proving our works. That's why you gotta go out on the highways and byways in the winter time, man. It tells you that be instant in season and out of season. So in seasons when the sun's out and it's pleasant weather. Out of season when it's the weather's harsh, man, and there's snow, rain, and all those different forms of harsh weatherall environments, man. So that's how we're gonna escape. That's why we go out there every week through the spirit and power. Yahweh Shem Shai putting his spirit upon us. We're able to go out there every week. Verse 8 shall be whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the perils, from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. That's the elect, man. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they have cast them away despitefully, shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they have that have loathed my law, will they, and while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not but despised it. And it goes out to the members of ISU, IUIC, ISUPK, GOCC, all these various groups that basically are teaching falsehoods and are being corrected over and over again. They're being shown the right way by the apostles of Great Millstone and all the brothers on down, they're being corrected. But guess what? They're not. They're loathing the law, and they have liberty at this point in time to basically come into the in a circle of faith. But they're taking it lightly and for granted, man. But they're gonna be shown in that day, and then that goes on to the 2/3 of the nation of Israel as well. And then obviously the heathens don't stand a chance, man. Verse 12: the same must know it after death by pain. So with that, man, I pray you edified. Shalom.